In a park near the Chase Center, an 11-year-old child was selling drawings for $5 to fund her own cancer treatment. No one would have imagined that Steph Curry's casual passage through the area would change everything. What the basketball star did upon discovering the truth behind that small art stand not only transformed one life, but moved all of America. The afternoon sun bathed the small apartment in the Oakland neighborhood of California, while Sophia Williams, just 11 years old, concentrated intently on her sketchbook. Her thin fingers moved with surprising precision for someone so young, bringing to life detailed urban landscapes that captured the essence of San Francisco with impressive artistic maturity. Lisa Williams watched her daughter from the small kitchenette while preparing a quick snack before leaving for her second work shift. At 35, her face showed signs of exhaustion from working as a receptionist at a clinic during the day and as a waitress at night. Since Sophia's father had abandoned the family when the girl was only 3 years old, Lisa had faced the challenges of raising a daughter alone. "Mom, look what I made today!" exclaimed Sophia, lifting her notebook enthusiastically. The drawing showed the Golden Gate Bridge during sunset, with details of light and shadow that would impress any art teacher. "It's beautiful, my love. You have a special gift," replied Lisa with a smile, approaching to kiss the top of her daughter's head. Sophia's talent for art was nothing new. Since the age of 4, the girl had shown exceptional ability to reproduce what she saw. Her teachers at school always encouraged this gift, and the modest apartment was filled with drawings, framed with simple materials, but chosen with care. It was during a normal physical education class 2 months ago that the lives of both changed drastically. Sophia, always active and full of energy, fainted during a simple run. Concerned, the teacher noticed unusual bruises on the girl's arms that weren't the result of any recent fall. The school doctor recommended immediate tests. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia were the words that devastated Lisa 3 days later. A relatively common type of childhood cancer, but no less frightening. Although it had good chances of cure with proper treatment, the word cancer associated with her little daughter caused an indescribable terror. "Does it hurt today?" asked Lisa, noticing that Sophia was paler than normal. "Just a little bit, but I wanted to finish this drawing," replied the girl with determination, a characteristic that had intensified since the diagnosis. The past few weeks had been a roller coaster. The basic health insurance that Lisa managed to maintain covered only part of the specialized treatment that Sophia needed. The first round of chemotherapy consumed all the family's savings and still left debts. For the next phase, which would begin in 3 weeks, Lisa had no idea where the money would come from. That night, after Lisa left for work, Sophia was under the care of her neighbor, Mrs. Martinez, a retired lady who had grown fond of the girl. While drawing, the young artist looked at the local news showing a report about a crafts fair in the park near Chase Center, where people were selling their creations. The next morning, when Lisa returned exhausted from her night shift, she found Sophia organizing her drawings in a folder. "Mom, I had an idea. I can sell my drawings in Idaibi, the park, like those people on TV. That way, I can help pay for my treatment." Lisa felt her heart tighten. An 11-year-old child shouldn't worry about medical bills. But she knew her daughter well. Denying this request would only make her more frustrated, and the doctor had emphasized the importance of keeping Sophia's emotional state positive during treatment. "Are you sure, honey? It's not your responsibility." "I want to help, Mom," interrupted Sophia with determination. "My drawings are beautiful and people might like them. Mrs. Martinez said she would buy one." The following Saturday, with permission from the park administration, and help from Mrs. Martinez, who lent a folding table, Sophia set up her small exhibition. Lisa had printed some of her daughter's best drawings on quality paper at the neighborhood copy shop, placing them in simple plastic folders. A handmade sign said, "Sophia's Drawings, $5. The day was long. Few people stopped to look, although those who did sincerely praised the girl's talent. By the end of the afternoon, Sophia had sold only 3 drawings, one to Mrs. Martinez, another to a young art student passing by, and the third to an elderly lady who commented on how the Golden Gate Bridge drawing reminded her of when she was young. When they began to pack up everything, Lisa noticed the disappointment in her daughter's eyes, despite the brave smile Sophia maintained. "I'm proud of you, you know," said Lisa, hugging her daughter. $15 isn't much, is it?" replied Sophia, counting the crumpled bills. "It's a start. If you want to continue, we can come back another day." On the way home, in an almost empty bus, Sophia looked out the window at the imposing Chase Center, where the Warriors played their games. Her eyes reflected determination, not defeat. "Let's come back next week, Mom. And the week after that, too. I'll make new drawings, maybe of the Chase Center and the players. People might like those more." Lisa squeezed her daughter's hand, admiring her resilience. She had no idea how they would pay for the next cycle of chemotherapy, but Sophia's courage gave her strength to keep fighting. What neither of them could imagine is that that small drawing stand was about to change their lives in ways they could never have dreamed. 3 weeks had passed since Sophia's first day in the park. What had begun as a timid attempt had transformed into a weekend commitment. Every Saturday and Sunday, weather permitting, the young artist would set up her table near one of the busiest paths in the park adjacent to Chase Center. Lisa had managed to swap some shifts at the restaurant to be able to accompany her daughter in the mornings, but frequently needed to leave her under Mrs. Martinez's care on Sunday afternoons to cover the lunch shift. Gradually, Sophia began to gain regular customers. A college student who passed through the park every Sunday had already bought 3 of her drawings. A lady who walked her dog always stopped to see what was new. Sales were gradually improving, but they were still far from covering the accumulating medical costs. The next cycle of chemotherapy was scheduled for the following week, and Lisa barely slept thinking about how they would get the money. That specific Sunday at the beginning of spring, the San Francisco sky was exceptionally clear. Sophia wore a colorful scarf on her head. The effects of chemotherapy had begun to manifest in the form of hair loss, but she insisted on maintaining a cheerful spirit. Her new drawings included views of Chase Center and imaginary portraits of basketball players in action. A few blocks away, Steph Curry was finishing an optional morning workout at the Warriors training complex. Despite it being Sunday, the basketball star often dedicated some morning hours to improve his shots. It was a habit he had maintained for years, part of the discipline that had transformed him into one of the greatest players in NBA history. "Good work today, Steph," commented his shooting coach, collecting the last balls from the gym. "Thanks. I think I'll walk a bit before heading home," replied Curry, wiping sweat with a towel. "Isha is preparing a family lunch later, and I need to clear my head before that." The pressure of the regular season, fans' expectations, and his own ambitious goals sometimes weighed even on his experienced shoulders. Solitary walks through the neighborhood had become his way of recalibrating, a rare moment of relative anonymity, or at least as much as someone with his level of fame could expect. With a cap pulled down over his eyes and casual clothes that contrasted with his Warriors uniform, Curry headed toward the nearby park. Work with his charity foundation focused on children was always on his mind. Recently, they had inaugurated 2 more basketball courts in underprivileged neighborhoods of Oakland, and he was considering expanding the program to include more artistic and educational activities. The park was moderately busy that Sunday morning, families having picnics, runners on their morning routes, and some vendors at small stands scattered along the main path. Curry kept his head down, occasionally recognized, but most people respected his space. That's when a small, colorful stand caught his attention. Unlike the more elaborate craft vendors, it was clearly a simple setup. A folding table, some drawings arranged in plastic folders, and a thin girl with a colorful scarf on her head carefully organizing her works. Something in the child's silent determination made him stop. Perhaps it was the contrast between her fragile appearance and the evident dedication to what she was doing, or simply the vibrant colors of the displayed drawings. Curry approached casually, initially just curious. "Hi," he said softly, smiling at the girl. "Did you make these drawings?" Sophia looked up, meeting a tall man with a cap and sunglasses. She didn't recognize him immediately, seeing only a potential customer. "Yes, sir. All of them," she responded with a shy smile. "They cost $5 each, or 3 for $12. Curry picked up one of the drawings, an impressive representation of Chase Center with architectural details that were surprising for someone so young. "Wow, this is really amazing. You have great talent," he commented, genuinely impressed. "How do you capture so many details?" "I come here often and observe everything," explained Sophia, gaining confidence as she talked about her art. "When I can't come, I use photos or imagine what it would be like. I especially like drawing the Chase Center because that's where the Warriors play." "Are you a basketball fan?" asked Curry, now even more interested. "Yes, I watch when I can," replied Sophia, beginning to show more drawings. "This one is of the players, but it's from memory, so I don't know if it looks much like them." Curry smiled as he saw a drawing that clearly represented him shooting a 3-point shot with an expression of concentration that she had captured perfectly. "It's extraordinary how much this looks like, well, me," he said, removing his sunglasses as he looked at the drawing more closely. Sophia's eyes gradually widened as it dawned on her. The voice, the eyes, the characteristic smile. She was standing before Steph Curry himself. You are," she stammered, suddenly at a loss for words. "Steph Curry," he confirmed with a gentle smile, extending his hand. "Nice to meet you. And you are?" "Sophia," she managed to reply, shaking his hand with trembling fingers. "Sophia Williams." "Well, Sophia Williams, you have extraordinary talent. May I ask why you're selling your drawings here in the park instead of playing on this sunny Sunday?" The question, though simple, made Sophia's eyes well up slightly. There was something in Curry's genuine kindness that made her feel safe to share her story. "I'm selling drawings to help my mom pay for my chemotherapy," she answered with direct honesty, typical of children. "I have leukemia, and the insurance doesn't cover everything. My mom works a lot, but it's not enough." Curry's smile didn't disappear, but his eyes registered a visible impact. In his years of visits to children's hospitals and work with his foundation, he had met many sick children, but the combination of talent, determination, and autonomy of this young artist touched him deeply. "How much does your entire collection cost?" he finally asked. Sophia looked at her table, counting quickly. "I have 23 drawings today, so that would be, $115 if you buy everything." Without hesitation, Curry took out his wallet and removed several $100 bills. "I'll take all of them. Actually," Here's $500. Your talent is worth much more than what you're charging." Sophia's eyes widened like never before. "But that's too much." "Not at all. Exceptional artists deserve to be valued," he replied, helping her to carefully gather all the drawings. "Can I take a photo with you? I'd like to show my wife and children the incredible talent I found today." While Curry was taking selfies with the still astonished Sophia, Lisa Williams arrived at the park, rushing after her morning shift at the restaurant. From a distance, she saw a small crowd beginning to form near her daughter's table. Her heart raced, fearing some problem. When she approached, she almost tripped over her own feet upon recognizing Steph Curry crouched beside her daughter, both laughing as they looked at the drawings. Lisa stopped, momentarily paralyzed, watching Sophia radiant, as she hadn't seen her since before the diagnosis. "Mom!" Sophia spotted her, waving frantically. "Mom! Look who bought all my drawings!" Curry stood up and extended his hand to Lisa, whose face expressed a mixture of shock and emotion. "Mrs. Williams, I'm Steph Curry. Your daughter has extraordinary talent. And even greater courage," he said sincerely. "I think we need to talk about how we can help." Lisa, speechless, shook the extended hand of the famous athlete, while silent tears began to roll down her exhausted face. While driving back home after meeting Sophia and Lisa Williams, Steph Curry couldn't get the image of the young artist with her colorful scarf out of his head. The contrast between her physical fragility and strength of spirit had touched him deeply. So many children he had met in hospitals during his charitable visits, but there was something especially moving about the silent determination of that girl, selling drawings to pay for her own treatment. Upon arriving at his home in Atherton, he found Isha finalizing preparations for the family lunch. The aroma of roast filled the spacious kitchen where his wife moved with the same skill she demonstrated on her cooking show. "You took a while," commented Isha, raising her face to receive a kiss. She paused upon noticing her husband's thoughtful expression. "What happened?" Curry placed the folder with Sophia's drawings on the kitchen counter. "I met someone today, a talented artist." While the children played in the living room, the couple leaned over the drawings. Curry recounted the encounter in the park, his voice occasionally breaking as he described the Williams family's situation. 11 years old, Isha. 11 years old and selling drawings to pay for chemotherapy," he repeated, running his hand over his face. "I can't stop thinking that it could be one of our girls." Isha examined the drawings, impressed with the evident talent. "What are you thinking of doing?" "I don't know exactly yet, but I know we need to do something," he replied, already reaching for his phone. "I'm going to call Bryant at the foundation. This is exactly the kind of situation for which we created Eat, Learn, Play." The next morning, an emergency meeting was convened at the Curry Charity Foundation headquarters in Oakland. Bryant Jenkins, executive director, listened attentively as the basketball star explained the situation. "First, we need to ensure she receives complete treatment," stated Curry with determination. "But I also want to do something with this incredible talent. These children don't just need medical help. They need hope, dreams." Around 2 p.m. that same day, Steph Curry's Instagram, with its more than 50 million followers, featured a post that would change the course of the Williams family's life. A series of photos showed Curry alongside Sophia, her drawings carefully photographed, and a message that came from the heart. "Today, I want to introduce you to an extraordinary artist I met by chance. Sophia Williams is 11 years old, has impressive talent, and is fighting leukemia in Oakland. I found her selling these incredible drawings to help pay for her treatment. Her courage and determination deeply inspired me. Let's all unite to help this young artist win her battle. Link in bio for more information. Sophia Art. Fighting cancer, John, together, we win. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, the post accumulated millions of likes and shares. Celebrities, athletes, and influencers began reposting the images. Journalists contacted the Warriors' press office seeking more information. The story touched a sensitive point with the American public. A talented child fighting cancer with her own resources, representing both the IB crisis in the healthcare system and the indomitable spirit of youth. Lisa Williams was in the middle of her shift at the clinic when her phone started ringing incessantly. Colleagues approached showing Curry's post, while messages arrived from unknown numbers asking how they could buy Sophia's drawings. "We need to leave early today," informed the clinic manager, a man usually inflexible with schedules. "It seems you and your daughter are famous now, and don't worry about the shift. It's covered." Meanwhile, Curry's foundation team worked at a frantic pace. In less than 24 hours, they launched a website called Sophia's Art, where high-resolution digitized versions of the drawings could be purchased as prints, with all proceeds directed to a special fund for Sophia's treatment. Additionally, the original drawings would be auctioned online, with bids starting at values much higher than the $5 the girl charged in the park. 3 days after the viral post, the Williams family's Idorthiz phone rang early in the morning. It was Brianna, Curry's executive assistant. "Hello, Lisa. I'm calling on behalf of Steph Curry. We would like to invite you and Sophia to a special event today. A car will come to pick you up in an hour, if that's possible." "An event?" asked Lisa, confused. "What kind of event?" "A private Warriors practice," replied Brianna. "And don't worry, we've already spoken with Sophia's doctor about the necessary precautions due to her condition. Everything is being adapted to ensure her safety." When Sophia heard about the invitation, the joy on her pale face was like a ray of sunshine. For the first time in weeks, she completely forgot about the constant nausea that had accompanied her since the beginning of chemotherapy. The Chase Center, normally inaccessible to public eyes during practices, opened its doors for a very special visit that afternoon. Sophia, wearing a protective mask as per medical recommendation and a new colorful scarf with the Warriors logo, walked hand in hand with her mother, wide eyes absorbing every detail of the immense gymnasium. "Hello, Sophia," Curry's familiar voice echoed through the space as he approached, wearing his training uniform. "Welcome to our second home." One by one, the Golden State Warriors players came to greet the small visitor. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and the other stars formed a circle around her, each one crouching down to meet her at eye level, as they chatted and autographed a special jersey, with the name Sophia printed on the back. "We've all seen your drawings," commented Klay Thompson. "You captured my shot perfectly. You have an artist's eye." The coach, normally strict about interruptions during practices, dedicated time to explaining to Sophia the basic strategies used by the team, treating her like a small VIP. After allowing Sophia to observe part of the practice from a special spot on the side of the court, Curry asked for a moment of everyone's attention. Players, coaching staff, and employees formed a semicircle, with cameras from the Warriors' media department recording the moment. "We all face challenges in life," he began, with a hand on Sophia's shoulder. "But few of us show the kind of courage this young artist demonstrates every day. That's why I'm proud to announce that the Eat, Learn, Play Foundation is fully assuming all of Sophia's medical expenses, ensuring she has access to the best treatment available." Lisa covered her mouth with her hands, unable to contain her tears. Sophia looked at Curry with silent admiration. "And there's more," he continued. "The Peterson Gallery in San Francisco contacted us yesterday. They're offering their main space for an exclusive exhibition of Sophia's works, with all profits going to a new fund that will help other children with cancer." Enthusiastic applause echoed through the gymnasium. Draymond Green approached with a large envelope in his hands. "This is from all of us players," he said, handing the envelope to Sophia. "Each of us has already commissioned a personalized drawing, if you'll accept the job. We consider it an honor to have a work by Sophia Williams in our homes." The girl nodded, wordless, holding the envelope against her chest. Inside it were not only the commissions but checks from each player on the team for the treatment fund for children with cancer that was being established. When the cameras moved away and the players returned to their practice, Curry knelt to be at eye level with Sophia. "There's one thing I've learned playing basketball," he said softly. "The greatest victories are never won alone. We always need a team. Now you have an entire team by your side, Sophia." As they left the Chase Center that afternoon, Lisa realized that something fundamental had changed. Her daughter's expression was not just one of momentary joy, but of renewed hope that no medical diagnosis could erase. The Peterson Gallery, known for housing some of San Francisco's most prestigious contemporary art exhibitions, had never received so much public on an opening night. 6 weeks after the fortuitous encounter in the park, the elegant corridors of the space were filled with visitors forming lines to enter the exhibition titled "Through Sophia's Eyes: Art, Hope, and Healing." The transformation of Sophia's simple drawings into professionally framed works of art was impressive. Each piece was accompanied by a small explanatory plaque, some telling the story behind the work, others simply identifying the San Francisco locations that had inspired the young artist. In a special section were the new works she had created in recent weeks, detailed portraits of Golden State Warriors players, each capturing not just the physical resemblance, but something of the essence and personality of each athlete. Sophia, wearing a blue dress that matched the new scarf on her head, a gift from Isha Curry, was at the center of everything, talking with guests, with surprising poise for someone so young. Despite the visible fatigue from ongoing chemotherapy, her eyes shone with contagious energy. "How did you capture so well Steph Curry's determined expression before a decisive shot?" asked an ESPN reporter covering the event. "I watched many games during my treatment at the hospital," explained Sophia. "When you spend a lot of time observing someone doing what they love, you can see beyond the movement, you know? You see what's happening inside them." The guest list for the opening night seemed to come straight from the pages of a celebrity magazine. Besides the complete Warriors roster, other professional athletes, Hollywood actors, and famous musicians circulated through the space, all attracted by the powerful combination of Sophia's inspiring story and Curry's public support. Cameras from local and national news captured every moment, transforming what could have been just a local art exhibition into a national event, raising awareness about childhood cancer. "It's extraordinary to see how a small story can gain such dimension," commented Lisa to Isha Curry, as they observed Sophia animatedly chatting with the Warriors coach. "Sometimes I still can't believe all this is happening." "Steph always says that the biggest changes begin with small moments of genuine connection," replied Isha, holding Lisa's hand in solidarity. He couldn't forget the look of determination in Sophia's eyes that first day. Across the hall, Steph Curry was talking with representatives from the American Pediatric Oncology Association, who had traveled especially for the event. The Sophia's Art website had raised more than $300,000 in just 4 weeks, with people from all over the country and even abroad buying prints of the drawings. The auctions for the originals, still ongoing, had already surpassed $500,000. The impact goes far beyond the money, explained Dr. Eleanor Patel, a pediatric oncologist. The visibility this case has brought to the daily struggle of families facing childhood cancer is invaluable. We've been receiving calls from legislators interested in reviewing health insurance coverage policies for pediatric oncological treatments. When the time came for the official speech, Steph Curry took the small stage set up in the center of the gallery, alongside Sophia and her mother. The crowd's murmur gradually ceased. 6 weeks ago, I was just walking through the park, trying to clear my head after a morning workout, he began. I had no idea that casual stroll would change so many lives. I found an extraordinary artist selling drawings to help pay for her own cancer treatment. And I thought, in what kind of society does a child need to do this? A reflective silence took over the environment. But I also thought, what kind of indomitable spirit is this that, faced with such a great challenge, responds with creativity, determination, and hope? Sophia has taught us that art is not just expression. It's resistance, it's healing, it's transformation. Curry then made the announcement that had been carefully prepared in the previous weeks. I'm proud to announce today that, in addition to the fund for Sophia's treatment, we are establishing the Sophia Williams Scholarship for Young Artists, a permanent program that will offer artistic training and educational support for children facing serious illnesses. Because we believe that even in the most difficult moments, art heals, art connects, art gives hope. Applause echoed through the hall as Sophia, visibly moved, received a hug from her mother. The event that night raised more than $1.2 million, exceeding all expectations and ensuring not only Sophia's complete treatment, but also the foundation of the new scholarship program. 6 months later, the waiting room at the pediatric oncology clinic had a different atmosphere than usual. The walls, previously a monotonous institutional white, now displayed colorful framed artworks, all created by young patients participating in the Art That Heals program, inspired by Sophia's story. Lisa Williams looked out the window while waiting for the results of her daughter's most recent tests. The last few months had been an emotional roller coaster, alternating between hope and fear at each medical consultation. The intensive treatment had been brutal for Sophia's small body, but her determination had never faltered. "Mrs. Williams?" Dr. Harris's voice interrupted her. "Thoughts? Can we talk about the results?" In the office, the oncologist presented a smile that Lisa hadn't seen before. Sophia, sitting in the examination chair, swung her legs nervously. "The results are extremely positive," announced the doctor, showing the tests. "Sophia is officially in remission. We'll still maintain rigorous follow-up for the next few years, but all the markers are excellent." The words took a few seconds to be fully processed by Lisa. When the meaning finally hit her completely, silent tears rolled down her face. "Does that mean I'm cured?" asked Sophia, her voice small but full of hope. "It means we've won this battle," replied the doctor cautiously. "We'll remain vigilant. But yes, the cancer is no longer detectable in your body." As they left the clinic that afternoon, Lisa noticed something different about Sophia. Not just the fine hair that was beginning to grow again, but a new confidence in her steps, as if each one carried the certainty that there would be a tomorrow. Lisa's phone vibrated with a message as they walked to the parking lot. "It's from Steph," she said, reading the screen. "He wants to know how the tests went." Sophia smiled. "Tell him I'm in remission, and that I already have an idea for the new painting I promised for the foundation." The relationship between the Williams family and the Currys had deepened over the months. what had begun as a gesture of charity had transformed into a genuine friendship. Sophia frequently visited the foundation headquarters, where an art studio had been installed specifically for the scholarship program classes. The following week, during the official inauguration of the Art That Heals Foundation, an offshoot of the initial project that now had its own autonomy, Sophia took the stage as its first official ambassador. Her hair was still short, but the scarf had given way to a colorful headband that matched her dress. "When I started selling drawings in the park, I just wanted to help my mom pay for my treatment," she told the attentive audience. "I never imagined that small gesture would change so many lives." In the front row, Steph Curry watched her with evident pride. "I learned that sometimes the hardest moments in life can transform into the greatest blessings," continued Sophia, with a maturity that transcended her recently completed 12 years. "And more importantly, I learned that no one needs to face these moments alone." As she continued her speech, the camera captured Lisa's emotional face and Curry's gentle smile. On the walls around them, dozens of artworks created by children undergoing cancer treatment testified to the transformative power of creativity amid suffering. The Art That Heals project had already expanded to 5 pediatric hospitals in California, with plans for national reach. Each partner institution received art materials, volunteer teachers, and, most importantly, the message that artistic expression could be a powerful ally in the healing process. At the end of her speech, Sophia revealed her latest creation, an acrylic painting showing a small improvised drawing stand under a tree, with 2 figures, a girl and a tall man, talking. In the background, the Chase Center gleamed under the San Francisco sun. "This is the moment that changed everything," she explained. "A casual encounter that taught me that the greatest miracles begin with the smallest gestures of kindness." When the ceremony ended and guests circulated through the space, Steph Curry approached Sophia. "So, what's next for our favorite artist?" he asked. "I want to study art and medicine," she replied promptly. "Maybe create a type of therapy that uses art to help other children like me." Curry smiled, recognizing in her the same determination that had impressed him in that first encounter in the park. "You know, Sophia, when people ask me about the greatest victories of my career, I used to think about championships and trophies," he reflected. "But now, I always tell them about a brave girl I found selling drawings in a park. That taught me that true victories are those that transform lives." Sophia smiled, firmly holding her new sketchbook, a birthday gift from the Currys, already filled with sketches for future projects. The open page showed the initial draft for a series titled Real Heroes, portraying not athletes or celebrities, but nurses, doctors, researchers, and volunteers who made possible the healing journey of so many children. Outside the foundation, a colorful banner highlighted the phrase that had become the program's motto: "Art heals when medicine alone is not enough." Below it, Sophia Williams's signature, not just the name of a girl who had beaten cancer, but now the symbol of a movement that was just beginning.